Wow. Oh man. So we're here today at Spruce Creek Airport in sunny Florida, and we have this 1983 Bonanza B36TC. That's right, turbocharged, and this one's intercooled. And I gotta tell you, these things are probably the nicest 6-seat airplane that you could get, and this one is completely awesome. But like so many other airplanes that we've had on the channel, this one's been sitting untouched for about the last 12 years. And today we're gonna get this thing started. Well, we're gonna try to get this thing started, and then we're gonna go over the whole airplane, the airframe, the inside, the avionics, everything, and see what it's gonna take to get her back up in the air and rescued and flying once again. So let's get at it. The Bonanza line was first introduced by Beechcraft Aircraft Corporation in 1947 with the V-tail Model 35. It quickly gained a reputation for its sleek design and performance. Fast forward to 1982. The Space Shuttle Challenger completed its 4th mission. E.T. was phoning home at the box office. Time magazine awarded its Machine of the Year title to the personal computer, and Beechcraft debuted the Bonanza B36TC. With its 300 horsepower Continental TSI 520, it has increased power output through turbocharging, allowing this Beech to maintain performance at higher altitudes, in which helps it reach a top speed of 246 miles an hour. Production of the B36TC continued for several years, with Beechcraft manufacturing them until the early 2000s. While newer models have since been introduced, the B36TC remains a popular choice among pilots who value its combination of performance, comfort, and reliability. So before we jump into this engine and check out the heart of this beast, check out the turbocharger, the intercooler, and see what kind of condition it's in, we need to look at the rest of the airplane and see how much damage 13 years of sitting in the Florida sun did to it. If this spinner has anything to say about it, we're going to be looking at a couple issues here. Hopefully, they're not real bad. So a few of the things we got to look at is we have to look at this whole airframe. You know, what did sitting out here in the Florida weather, I mean, we all know, you know, there's a certain word I'm not going to use that you get down here in Florida, and we did kind of buy this sight unseen. So I don't know how bad it is corrosion-wise. The spinner's got some corrosion on. It makes me a little bit nervous, but we're gonna go ahead, we'll inspect the whole outside of the airplane for corrosion. We're gonna also take a look at the windows, check out the condition of those. We're gonna crawl underneath of it. We're gonna check out the belly. We're gonna check out the landing gear, all the shafts, and see if there's any corrosion there. Just make sure everything looks solid and everything is safe. While we're at it, we're also gonna look at the flight control surfaces. We're gonna check for movement. We're gonna check for any type of corrosion, make sure the bearings are good, and then we're gonna hop in the interior. Now, I've seen a couple pictures of the interior, and it's had these solar shields up protecting the interior the whole time. I think the interior is gonna look pretty much brand new, and it's gonna be real exciting to check out the panel. The panel in its day was first class. Autopilot, yaw dampener, and everything. So I'd like to stop this video to watch the T6 Texan fire up right now. I think that's a T6. That's the only thing about being at like an airport like this. Every time you see something that's really cool, and we end up stop videoing and forget about what we're doing and watch airplanes. So, all right. Let's get back to the Bonanza. So the other thing we're gonna do then, after we check out the avionics and interior and all that stuff, we're gonna get in here and we're gonna pop this cowling open. We're gonna see what we got under the hood, and we're gonna see if we can, and we're gonna see what we gotta do to get it started. I'm a little bit worried about, to be honest with you, because as you guys may or may not know, turbos come with high maintenance. Turbos lock up and they don't like sitting. And this one's been sitting. So we'll see what we got. All right, so I just got off the phone with the mechanics that have all the logs over at the hangar. They're combing through them, and as it turns out, all the numbers that I was given are accurate. It doesn't even have 1,500 hours on the airframe and a little bit over 500 hours on the prop and the engine. This thing's almost new. I mean, that's one of the lowest hour airframe B36 TCs I've heard of. It may be the lowest one, and we have it. So that makes me real excited. There are a couple ADs that need going over, so they're gonna be making a list. Let's go ahead, let's jump in, and let's take a look at everything else. It's finally feeling like summer, which means I'm gonna be spending a lot more time outside. And I want a lawn that I can enjoy with my family. Thankfully, our sponsor, Sunday Lawn Care, is here to make that lawn growing process so much easier. And you guys can forget the days of over-calculating how much seed and fertilizer you need. Sunday Lawn Care automatically gives you the perfect amount for the perfect yard. When ordering, Sunday not only calculates the amount you need, but also your soil type, the weather that your grass is going to be exposed to, and so much more. Sunday ships right to your door with the perfect amount of lawn care product to make sure you're successful in having the yard that you want. The lawn care products come in these perfectly proportioned pouches, so it's as easy as hooking it up to my hose and spraying my lawn. I have dogs, cats, kids, bunny rabbits, birds, neighbors' kids, and people anyway, and I'm worried about what I put on my lawn. Sunday Lawn Care has no harsh chemicals and it's filled with ingredients that you can trust for your family. So if you guys have been following along with the channel, you'll already know that we've been partnered with Sunday Lawn Care for quite some time. And I have to tell you, the difference this season is amazing. So if you want to be like me and refresh your yard today, all you got to do is click the link in the description below or use code RESCUE30. You'll get 30% off your first Sunday Lawn Care plan. If we look at the paint on this, it's really not that bad. We got some paint peeling and you know, it hasn't been down with the metal showing real long to start causing like a lot of corrosion. I'm not seeing really much corrosion at all. We are going to have to scope it, get inside the wings and really look at it, but other than paint, you know, a little bit of clear coat coming off, it looks pretty good. I don't see any dents. Okay, we get a little bit of I don't even know what this is. Not sure what that is. I'll have to look at that because I'm not sure what that is.
It's just duct tape, isn't it?
I don't know. It's like speed tape or something, but I don't know why it's on there. So
I wasn't sure if you put that over so stuff didn't get in here, like wasps or something. Or
might
water.
Be. Yeah, might be. It might be just a covering for parking. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. I'm not familiar with the tails on these. Everything looks like really clean. Obviously, being out in Florida, this clear coat was doomed, you know, in the sun. But I'm not seeing any corrosion. I see some bad paint work. We got the normal, you know, a little bit of rust on some things. Anything metal is going to have some rust on it. Once we get in the interior, I'll go ahead, you know, I'll be able to check all the flight controls and everything. We'll get some lubricant. We'll spray them on, like pretty much everything that is supposed to move will get sprayed down. Yeah, it actually looks really good. This might be a little bit of corrosion underneath here though. That's concerning. Yes, there's probably a little bit of corrosion here, but it doesn't feel like it is down into the metal too much. So hopefully that's just right under the paint and that can just be cleaned up. Yeah, so pretty much what it looks like from here, walking around this underneath the airplane, it looks great because it hasn't been beaten up by the sun. All the top surfaces, the clear coat is pretty bad. I mean, it could be buffed up a bit, but it's flaking. I see a tiny little bit of corrosion starting here and there, but I don't see anything that's very alarming. So looking underneath the airframe, you can see there's, you know, we have a little bit of paint coming off. I don't see, again, I don't see any corrosion or anything that I'm like massively worried about. It also looks like somebody left the belly a little dirty, which honestly probably wasn't a bad thing because it gives it a coating of oily protection. And it looks good. I think just the cleanup down here, everything underneath is really good. I mean, somebody, if they wanted to, we could even just paint the very top surfaces of everything because the bottom surfaces look almost brand new. So you could save a little bit of money, but I keep looking at this Bonanza and thinking to myself, this thing would be so hot with a modern panel and a modern paint job on it. So when walking around looking in the windows, I don't know, I didn't look at the logs and see if these were ever replaced, but surprisingly, they look good. They don't look really fogging. What do you think about these windows? I mean, they don't
there's
none
of, like, I don't really see any crazing or anything either.
No, there's
they
no
look
crazing.
Pretty good.
There was some talk about this sitting in a hangar for a number of those 13 years. I'm not 100%, that was a good burp. I'm not 100% sure how long it sat in this position. So it may have only been sitting out here for like 3 years or so. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks good.
Honestly too, him putting these window coverings that are all like custom fitted.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know that person took care of their plane.
100%. And looking at the logs, if you take a look at the logs, the way everything's organized, and you know, there's labels on all kinds of things. it was a picky, you know, he was a picky owner and he took pride in his airplane. Unfortunately, sometimes, you know, we got to let our airplane sit outside, but this thing looks really good. All right, so I have to take a look. Oh, man. This thing looks brand new in here. Are you kidding me? Look at the interior. I don't know if
seatbelts.
I don't know if any
Seatbelts don't have any dirt
dude.
on
I don't even know if someone ever sat in here. It's got a rug. Look, it's got a matching it's got like a matching area rug in an airplane. I think I could live in here. So it has the powered Bose headset interface over for like all the seating positions.
Dude, even all the speakers are in like really good shape.
They're like in pristine shape. You got a table, you got your cigarette lighter, which obviously would just be a cell phone power. You know, I would never let someone smoke in my airplane. That's insane. Welcome to today and not the 70s and 80s. Oh my gosh, it's got a suede headliner. What? That's suede. That's kind of suede headliner. Dude, and it's it's got oxygen.
Oh, for the rear?
No way, it's got onboard oxygen.
Dude, did you notice these gaskets too?
Dang,
These
I
door
know,
gaskets?
they're like brand new.
They still feel like a little bit oily almost.
I think this is probably gonna be like the best buy that we've ever had. Now, the seller actually asked me not to talk about what we paid for it. So I really can't say what we did. He really did pay for it. He wanted to give us a really good deal. And wow.
I almost feel like you gotta take your shoes off to get in.
Dude, I know.
It's
I thought
so
about
nice
that
in here.
before I got in here. So the one thing you guys definitely want to do, even if like the carpet looks all nice and brand new like this, start pulling up some of the carpet around the doors. You're going to want to look for any kind of corrosion because these doors they're going to leak. Like they're going to leak, except for this door, because if you look at the seals are brand new. Like look at these seals. Somebody like just took care of them. They even got some stuff on them. I mean, wow. Wow, and it's a Beechcraft. I mean, everything is primed, is protected. You know, when they build these, they build them right. Like Beechcraft is like the Cadillac or the Lexus of airplanes. So I didn't know this was going to happen, but Tom, the old owner, the original person who had the airplane most of its life, pulled up and he began to tell the story about the B36 and the reason why it's been sitting for so many years. So as it turns out, Tom, who's an inventor and a really successful businessman, had moved down to Florida a number of years ago. He moved down there with his wife and his 2 kids. His wife and 2 kids used to fly with him in that Bonanza all over the country. It was this huge family thing that they shared, and you could just tell as Tom was telling the story how much it meant to him. So Tom had opened up an engineering firm somewhere else in the country years before that and had just moved to Florida. He moved his whole family down. He had to find new employees. His whole life was upside down. And all of a sudden they found his wife had cancer. She only had a few months to live, and Tom had a new business and knew he was going to be a single parent soon. So although Tom had such a love for aviation, he had to let go of flying. So Tom soon lost his wife to cancer, and being a single parent and running this new and successful business, he just couldn't fly anymore. So he had to hang his wings up, and the Bonanza sat. You know, and the story that he shared with me was touching, you know, and it just goes to show like how much aviation affects people. And you know, he really took care of. He really loved this airplane, and he's really excited to see it flying again one of these days here soon. So, you know, can't wait to get this rescue finished up. This is going to be a really cool airplane, and it's going to be a really cool airplane for somebody out there, maybe one of you guys, to fly. So it's cool. So let's check this panel out, because I know it's going to be cool. I might have seen pictures. Oh, it's locked.
You're killing me with this.
I'll give you guys a little peek. See, look, not too much. Calm down there, calm down, look.
I think the
Wow.
window's too dirty to see through.
I know, it does need cleaned up. All right, let's take a look at this thing. Oh man, look at this panel. So back in the day, this Bonanza would be like pulling up at whatever airport you're at in a Ferrari. It really would. This is like the Ferrari of freaking airplanes. I mean, you got the single throw over yoke, so nothing's in front of you, but if you want to fly from right seat, you can. Look at this panel. Oh my gosh, it's got everything in it. I mean, factory autopilot with the yaw dampener. It's, yeah, nice King HSI. Got your CD changer from back in the day. I still think I have some CDs I can throw in there for the passengers. It looks brand new. Like the panel here. I'm not saying that it wouldn't look nice with like dual G3Xs and a GFC 500 and stuff like that, but this could be flown just like this for years, no problem. And it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. The side looks beautiful. The only thing I'm seeing is a little tiny crack in the plastic here. The seats, they look really good. Well, again, we got the floor mat. We got the cup holders right here. Man, we're good to go. Got the oxygen, co-pilot and pilot oxygen.
Dude, this thing's got a better interior than our rental car.
Dude,
And our rental car is like a 2023.
It does. Man, we got a little glove box here. We got some stuff going on. I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happy. The only thing that really upsets me is the fact that we have a Saratoga, which is kind of like the competition from Piper for this airplane. But if I'm honest, the Saratoga is like Chevrolet, you know, and this is like the Beechcraft is like the Cadillac, or I don't even think that's a fair comparison. So I think the Beechcraft is like the Mercedes or the Ferrari. You know, the Saratoga is kind of like a minivan or something. I don't know, but yeah, and I know that this will get up to altitude. We got oxygen, we got an intercooled turbo, which is so much better. 520 cubic inch intercooled turbo. Oh, this thing is just so nice. All right, I got my airplane, guys. Thanks. Take care. Talk to you later.
See you guys next time on Rebuild Rescue.
See you guys next time. So if you look on the floor here, we got these like little area rugs over top of the really nice carpet. So they took really nice custom area rugs and put it over top of custom carpet in the interior. Let's hop over here and we will check out, see how the brakes feel, because I have a feeling those brakes were sitting here not being used. They're probably, yes. So brakes are going right to the floor. There is Zilcho Braco. No brakes, so they're gonna need probably master cylinders rebuilt, probably calipers rebuilt, all bled out. And I kind of figured that, I mean, once you sit that long, you're just not gonna have any brakes. Got some really nice rosin sun visors up here. I don't know if I've been this excited. Have I been this excited about an airplane yet? I don't think I have. All right, let's take out the gust lock here and see if the flight controls will move. Now I didn't check these out yet. They are working. So the ailerons work. They're a little stiff. They're gonna definitely need lubed up. They are working well. Both sides. How's that look back there? How's the elevator look?
Oh, it's moving.
It's moving?
Oh, yeah.
Dang. So cool. How about the rudder?
Oh, yeah.
Rudder's moving?
Yep.
No way. Nice. I'm gonna check the trim here. Trim's moving. Elevator trim.
Do it again.
It's moving now.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
move slow.
Yep.
It's a little tab.
Yeah, it's moving.
It's moving?
Oh, yeah.
No way. Yes. We even got it's got the WX11, it's got the radar, it's got the storm deal, it's got it all. It's got it all. The adjustment here, that works. Wow. Got the oxygen right here, the controls, the on, the off, man, it's just such a cool airplane. I love it. So the thing is that nobody really knew is that I already had that airplane sold as long as we could get it started and as long as it was in pretty good shape. If it wasn't, I wasn't gonna have a deal on the airplane, I wasn't gonna be able to sell it, and I'd have to figure out a way to fix it and or get it off the airport property within a short amount of time. So the only thing that I'm seeing that I'm a little bit worried about are these struts. So they are down completely. You can't get down any further. So I don't know if these are gonna hold fluid or if they're just gonna leak all over the place. Tires, definitely shot. It's gonna need 3 tires. I would say the whole strut's gonna need completely rebuilt. A lot of the heims and stuff, they're gonna need attention. And maybe some of these brake fittings up here, they may need some attention. They're not looking that bad though. It looks like it could really be surface, but not real bad. It's not corrosion, it's literally just grease. The inside is all painted and there's 0 corrosion in here. Everything looks good. Everything is like perfect. So put a tire on it and really this is dry rotted, but I've seen worse. I've seen worse dry rot.
Did you see the other side of it? No. Other side of that tire?
What, this here?
The sidewall, yeah.
It's sand.
Oh, for real? Oh, it's not even...
No, it's just sand.
Oh, nice. I thought it was like dry rotted through.
No, so that's grease. Grease fell on there and the grease got hard and then some sand blew on it and covered it up.
Nice.
So it's literally just rubbing right off. So the tires are actually pretty good. There's some little stuff. Now I would put new ones on just to have new ones on, but I think it would fly with them perfectly fine. I mean, it's a tube tire, but look at that. Look at the gear. Look how nice that looks. It's all painted. There's like no corrosion on it. It's in like perfect shape. Let's take a look at the right strut here. The right strut looks just like the left one. We got a little bit of dry crack in the tires. We have a little rusty heim end here that goes to the gear door. The strut is completely collapsed, but looking at all the pieces here, everything, there's paint and everything. There's a tiny little bit of, you can see corrosion right here, just a tiny bit under the paint. Superficial, nothing really to worry about. Up in here, we got a little wasp nest there. Everything looks fantastic. No corrosion. A little bit of tire dry rot. These nice Michelins. Good paint. Need to service the strut, throw some O-rings in it, lube it up, put some nitrogen in there to be good to go. And if you look at the front strut, same way. It looks good, but this one actually has pressure in it. I'm sure it has oil in it. Got a little bit of surface rust on some of the hardware. I'll probably replace the shaft here on the shimmy dampener because it does have some corrosion in there, but wow. Again, brand new tires. Looks like someone put brand new tires in before it was parked years and years ago, and it had to spend some time in a hangar. It couldn't have been out here for that long. It just couldn't have been. So it looks really good. Looks really good. Let's look up underneath here. All the gear retract parts, they're good. There's no corrosion. There's plenty of oil and grime up in here, which keeps that from getting all corroded or anything. It looks perfect. It looks great. All the wiring looks like it's in good shapes. All the heim, I haven't seen a bent, broken, cracked, anything. All right, let's get this hood open. So one of the things I get really worried about whenever a rescue is looking this good is when you really start to dig in, you get into the engine, you open the cowling, and then all of a sudden the most expensive part of the whole airplane has issues. And this thing being a turbocharged and intercooled, it could have some really big issues. So I'm a little worried about it, but turbochargers are cool. So let's open this thing up. And by the way, on an 83 B36TC, you get these nice little hood releases and you get these nice little,
Whoa. That thing looks good.
wow.
Besides being a little dirty, that thing looks freaking awesome.
It looks really good. And it's got this cool like hood release that makes it so easy. All the paint looks really good. Look at the paint under here. Even like under, it's perfect. Now we do have, if you look here, we got a couple of hoses that will clean up its surface. That's on the surface. You know, we got, they used to be chrome, you know, but that's on the surface. The plugs, you know, they're gonna be looking bad. I mean, they're full of corrosion and stuff because they just sat out in the elements here, but a couple mud dauber nests. I mean, we're in Florida, you're gonna get that.
Is there a date on that oil filter?
There is no date on the oil filter. So we're definitely, before flying it, so we're gonna definitely check the oil here, obviously before flying it, before running it for any length of time. You know, we're gonna make sure that the oil is good. We're gonna check the oil now and make sure there's oil in it, because if you guys remember the Saratoga, that one had 0 oil in it, but the engine was in great shape. I think it was in the middle of its annual when someone pulled the plug on the annual because they couldn't afford it or something just happened. So always gotta check the oil. And this has brand new oil in it.
Dude, what? That oil's so clean.
Brand new oil. 12 quarts of brand new oil in there. I would be willing to bet the guy who owned this, before he parked it, changed the oil, brand new filter, ready to go. I'll have to take a look at the logs, check the time on it.
I mean, the filter looked really clean.
It does look really
The
clean.
filter looks really clean, so that would make sense.
Yeah, he said he did do the slick mag conversion on it, so it has slick mags. I would assume these mags do have some corrosion inside of them. Our rule is, if anything is sat for like a long period of time, install just an overhaul left mag. Definitely, you know, throw new plugs in it. A ton of different tests. You want to test the compression. Obviously, this thing's out of annual, so there's an extensive amount of stuff that needs done to it. There's a ton of ADs that need looked at. But yeah, put a vacuum pump on it. Anything that could fail from sitting, put on it. Just spend the money, put it on it. You know, your diaphragm fuel pump, you know, the mechanical one, put one on it. You know, if it's sitting for more than 2 years, just put one on it. It's good insurance. At least a left mag, preferably both. So I'm gonna spray some penetrant in here on these plugs. I'm gonna get these plugs loose. We're gonna get these plugs out. Before we do anything, we're gonna scope the cylinders, and then we're gonna get some lubrication in them. We're gonna let these sit overnight. This airplane is so nice. I don't want to scrape anything in the cylinders. If there's any kind of corrosion or anything bad in there, hopefully there's nothing bad in there. Hopefully, I mean, this is Florida, so, but hopefully it's good to go. So we'll see, but everything I see is looking good. Let's take a look at this side too.
This side looks even better.
Look at this. So look at the baffling on here, man. That's somebody who cared about their airplane and took care of it.
I know we always put white firewalls on everything.
I know.
And it looks great.
Dude, and it is. He told me, he said he saw one of our videos and said that he painted the firewall white and saw that's what we were doing, and he was like, that's perfect. Like, it looks so good. Well, obviously, he really did think that, because that's how he had his painted.
But also, look how clean it is.
It is. There's no oil on it. There's no anything. There's no battery in here. I know that. So we're gonna get a battery in there in a little bit, which is good. So he took the battery out. There's no battery leaking acid in there. It's good to go. The thing is, as we looked at this Bonanza, it was in such good condition. I couldn't believe that it sat outside for 13 plus years in the Florida weather, in the Florida sun. There was minimal amounts of corrosion, and the interior was just beautiful. The only problem I had was, at that moment, I really didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to let it go. I wanted to keep it. All right, so all you guys at home, no cheating. So put in the comments what you think the chances are this thing's gonna fire up. Now that's before we scope it and know what the cylinders look like. And again, no cheating. So I think we got a pretty good chance. I think these cylinders are gonna look pretty good, but I'm still a little apprehensive. So we'll see. But I do got some lubricant to put in the cylinders. We are gonna scope it. We're gonna see what this looks like. See if this thing will start again for the first time in about 12 years, 12 or 13 years. I don't want to jinx myself. I'm not even gonna say. I'm not gonna say, because if I say, I'm gonna jinx myself. So, but I like this airplane. I like all airplanes, but we got everything all set up. I lubricated all the spark plugs. So now we're gonna loosen the spark plugs up. We're gonna pop them out, and then we're gonna get the scope in, and we're gonna see what what really we got is as far as the deal on this thing, because this engine is about, I don't know, $100,000 if you bought a new one. To overhaul it, it's about $60,000. So this is the heart, soul, and the biggest expense you're gonna have on an airplane, unless you put like $100-some thousand avionics package in. This will tell us what we got.
Jason, you have to tell about how many people stopped by to tell us about the airplane.
So we're there at the Bonanza. We're either working on it or we're checking it out. There had to be 6, 7, 8 people that stopped by. Every single person that stopped by had a different story of what happened to the owner.
It was like whisper down the lane.
It was. Everybody had a story. He had died. He went to the war. He was abducted. Aliens got him. The truth is, he lived at the airport for years. And you'll have to excuse the tools that I'm using today because I have limited tools available. So.
Getting going?
Oh yeah.
Hey,
I'm Jason. Good to meet you, Greg. Good to meet you. This is Harrison.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I used to be the president of the American Bonanza Society.
Oh, no way.
I was president up until about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And then my 6 years, term limits ran out.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, hey, you got to do your time and then move on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're about ready to pull the plugs on it. I'm going to go ahead and scope the cylinders, take a look at them, see what they look like,
Do you know if it's been run at all?
I don't think so.
Because to my knowledge, I haven't seen it ever run.
Yeah.
It looks better now than it looked when it was sitting over
So
there.
somebody
It
a
was
year
just
ago,
green.
I heard that someone a year ago washed it for some reason. Someone was here and washed it, and it used to be as green, from what I understand, as this paint right here, the whole thing. It was like just covered in moss. So where else can you be in the world working on an airplane on a Bonanza? And I promise you guys, we didn't set this up. We didn't set this up at all. So he pulls up on his Beach Nuts club car. If you're not sweating beach nuts, you're out of position.
If you're not sweating, you're out of position. See, this is a formation team, and we fly out of the Kansas City area. And,
Oh my gosh! So the previous president of the Bonanza Society Club, you guys might know him. I mean, if you guys know Beechcraft,
that you may not be aware of. You know what these are right here?
those are the Go Fast Strake modified 3/4 lift angle.
You know what they really are?
No, I don't.
Those are your check writing tables. That's where you put your checkbook when you write your checks. And if for some reason this one were to collapse, you go over the other side.
Yeah, go to the other side. There's a spare. What are these?
They're for stall strips.
Stall strips.
Yeah, the F33C, the aerobatic Bonanza, has these all.
Yeah, so we're gonna pop these plugs out. I've been doing like a little bit of dance and a little bit of prayer. Hopefully, there's no corrosion in there. There's no corrosion in there, and we see something good. What percentage chance? And this is something we do in the channel a lot. What's your percentage chance that these cylinders, there's no corrosion after sitting in the Florida sun?
My
and
guess,
air.
there's about maybe a 1/10% chance there is no corrosion.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
1/10. I'm not good at math. That's not a good chance, right? That's not a good chance.
Let's hope I'm wrong though.
Yeah, so why those plug wires are sitting and just kind of letting that penetrant seep in there. We'll go ahead and get these all loosened up, and we'll do the same thing over here. Last thing I want to do is rip one of the wires out, ruining the harness because I was impatient and didn't let everything set up in there and loosen up before pulling the wires out. All right, we'll let that soak in. We'll see how the other side's looking. See if we can get these other 3 out of here. So what's your percentage chance this thing fires right up, Harry?
I think there's going to be light corrosion in the cylinders.
Okay.
I think there's going to be light corrosion. Well, there's definitely going to be corrosion in there, but I don't think it's going to be anything like that we can't start it because of it. I like 85% chance it's going to start.
85% chance. What's your guess on percentage of chance it's going to start?
It's gonna start. Oh boy. Did you guys put any new fuel in it or anything?
Not yet.
Not yet. We will. Yeah, I'm going to check the fuel, see what kind of condition it's in. Obviously, it's 13-year-old fuel from the math that I saw in the logbooks and everything. So I'd say the fuel's probably not the best fuel, but hey, it's leaded fuel, so we got all of the spark plug wires for the top plugs. I'm not going to pull the bottom ones right now. I'm actually going to spray those and let those sit. We are going to get those plugs out and we can finally scope it and see what it looks like. Oh, nice fine wire plug.
Oh, cool.
Plenty of carbon on it. No little tiny bit of oil on there. 500-hour engine. All right, let's take a look at that. Yeah, she looks good. A little carboned up. No oil, no corrosion on the plug. That makes me feel really good. It's always a good sign. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of a little lube, little penetrant in there. I'm gonna let that sit, and hopefully it goes down in the threads a little bit. I don't want to pull the helicoils out of the cylinder. That looks good. I guess I didn't share what my percentage. I think this thing's gonna fire up and run just like it was parked here yesterday. I don't think there's gonna be a problem at all. That's before I see the inside of the cylinders though.
Same thing. Right?
Yeah, she's good. Looks good. Just like I said, a little carboned up. To be expected. It means it hasn't, probably didn't, it was probably started up here and there a long while back. Yeah, I'm gonna put a little lube in that one there. That one's not too happy. Well, I think it probably wasn't flown for maybe 16 or 17 years, I'm betting, based on some research I did. But then hasn't ran in a long time. Looks good. Looks good.
In between watching airplanes fly by, we continued to pull the plugs out. With every one we pulled out, we felt more and more confident that this thing might start.
Looks like no corrosion at all. A little bit here on the edge of the threads. And so whenever you guys feel that, whenever you feel you're backing a plug out and it's hard to back out, that does mean there was some moisture in that cylinder, because the bottom threads that were sticking down past the helicoils, well, they got a little corrosion on, a little rust. That's why it's hard for them to pull out. All right, let's see if this one loosened up any. All right, last plug, and the helicoil is still in the cylinder, which is good. I don't know if any of you guys ever had that happen before. It's not a good feeling. All right, looks good. Like I said, it's a little carboned up. Unfortunately, I don't have anything with me to clean these up today, but they don't look that bad. All right, so now's the moment of truth. What are these cylinders gonna look like? And is this thing going to fly out of here, or is the engine gonna have to be pulled out of the cylinders, pulled off? It's the moment of truth. So we're gonna start with the left rear, which on these Continentals, I can't remember which cylinder this is, so it's one of them. Wow, you know what?
Dude, what the heck? They look pretty good, don't they?
Dude, they look really good. Let me see something. See, this doesn't have the side view where my other one does. Let me turn the light up in it. All right, that's all the brighter it gets, but man, look at that cylinder.
Yeah, hold on.
Wait a second, let me get my flashlight in there too.
Dude,
Look
what the?
at that, man. That cylinder looks absolute. So there's a little bit there. See on the top there?
Oh yeah.
If you look in the
Like
top,
right up here.
yeah, if you look at the top right here, you can see a tiny little bit of what I would call staining. But I can tell you, just from experience of pulling these apart, when they look like that, that is like, that's like nothing. That's like nothing at all. So that cylinder looks good. We'll go on to the next cylinder.
It looks like a little bit.
Yeah, so we got a little bit. So we got a little bit there. So we got a same thing. We got a little bit on the top, like above where the ring would land at the top of the stroke. But man, look at this. Look at the sidewall. Look how nice that is.
Yeah, right there you can still see some of the...
Yeah, you can see the crosshatch in there. Wow. The two rears, we're good to go. All right. Same deal. You can see crosshatch here. No issues whatsoever. You can see at the very edge here where the ringland doesn't reach, a little bit of corrosion, and I would bet most anybody that has an airplane, if it sat at any time anywhere, you're going to have about a ½ inch of area where you're going to see a little bit of staining, a little bit of corrosion at the top, but the whole cylinder looks really good. All right, so over on the right side here, we'll check 1, 3, and 5. All right, so that one's all the way up top. Let's actually start with number 5. Wow, there's a little bit of oil down in here, which is good. All right, so we got a little bit of carbon on the top of the pistons. I don't have the scope with me where I can look up at the valves. Yeah, so again, good shape. We got crosshatch in here. It might be a little bit hard to see on camera, but yeah, it looks good. It looks good. This thing's good. This thing's really good. Check the last cylinder. So we got a little bit of oil on the bottom. There's some staining at the very top of the ring lands, what you're gonna expect in the cylinders. No problem. No problem. We're gonna put some lube down the cylinders. I am gonna crank it over a bit by hand just to make sure that all the rings are all lubed up, make sure the cylinders are good. We'll put the plugs back in. I'm gonna get a battery in it, gotta get some fuel in it, gotta sump it, gotta check some screens.
You want
and I'm
to
gonna
grab
see
the
if,
battery now and
we're
bring
gonna
it
see
over?
if we can make some
Noise.
yeah. We're down to where we need the battery. And you're a little reckless driver here in this golf cart. So Rich is a buddy of mine. He does a little bit of brokering, and when he runs into certain airplanes, I think he knows if he calls me, he's gonna be able to talk me into it. So he gave me a call, told me about this Bonanza, and knew we'd have to have it. I'm down here working on the Bonanza 36 and checking with Rich. We need a 24-volt battery. Like, who would have a 24-volt battery sitting around? So Rich said he has one, so we're heading over to his house. Going to check it out and see if that'll work for the Bonanza. All right, so it looks like we got a battery. We got some of the acid, the pink power for these Gill batteries. This is the original battery that would go in that 36, and yeah, so we got some data on it and everything. So this thing should be good to go. All right, so we're gonna let this charge. We'll probably let this charge overnight, and we'll also let all the lubricant that we put down in the cylinders just kind of sit in there, do its magic. First thing tomorrow morning, we'll go back to the airplane, see if we can get that thing to turn over. So we're gonna go ahead and get some lubricant in here in the cylinders. So just getting a little bit of lubrication in the cylinders. When I would turn this over earlier, you could kind of hear the rings a little bit, but getting a little lubrication in the cylinders, there's no more. Let's take a look in here and just check out the bladder, see what kind of condition it's in. You can't, obviously there's a ton of the bladder you can't see, but if you guys look in there, can you see the bladder there? You probably have to look at my angle. The bladder looks like it's in really good shape. I can't see any dry cracks. I can't see any concerns, at least right now. The rubber feels supple. It doesn't feel dry. It doesn't look dry. There's also no staining on the wing, and I believe there's a good amount of fuel in here yet. So now it is 13-year-old fuel, so we're gonna sump it. I'll check the other bladder, check the condition. We will sump it. We'll get some fuel in here, so there's fresh fuel. We may drain out a bunch of the old fuel as well. We'll see. So the other thing about sumping, something that hasn't been sumped in a long time, is a lot of times these things will get jammed open.
Dude, that...
Look at that. Nothing there. So if you guys looked at the caps as well, when I removed them, that's a locking cap, and it has a very strong positive lock. I forget the brand, but it is an aftermarket fuel cap, and I really like the design on it. I really like the O-rings that they have on it and everything else. So
how's it smell?
Smell it.
Doesn't smell stale, does it?
A little bit. Smells a little bit stale, but if you have a good system, if you have a good tank, you have a good cap on it, and I'll tell you now, this thing has been rained on for years and years and years, and that cap Very good quality. This is a testament to that because there is zero water in there. I wouldn't even be scared to fire it up. So the gasket's in really good shape. Again, I like the design of this cap. I like how it sits down in here. Good design. It looks good. It's not dry. Let me feel in there, see what it feels like. There is a little bit of glue here, but there's also some sealant there. So it's a tiny little bit. I think it was coming out of this drain. Yeah, so it was coming out of that drain.
That's crazy. Look how clean that is.
So that those caps, again, I don't know what brand they are. I'm actually going to look them up because if it's kept this good that long, definitely a good cap. That one smells a little bit more stale. I've let my lawnmower sit in my garage for a year and it smelled worse than this. So pretty good.
So if there was one thing that was going to keep us from starting this thing up was the fuel. What kind of condition was it in? Were we going to have to drain the tanks? What was going to have to be done? Soon after checking it out, we could see that the tank sealed up perfectly. There wasn't a speck of dirt, dust, water, nothing. And this was turning out to be the most amazing find we've ever had.
All right, so it's getting late here. It's starting to get dark, so we're gonna pack up for the day, pack up for the night. So we're gonna pack up for the night and we'll be back tomorrow morning. We're gonna get some fuel in this thing. We're gonna get the plugs in, make sure it has oil pressure. We're gonna check the air filter, make sure that's good, put some fresh fuel in it, and we're gonna get this sucker fired up. All right, guys, so we're back out here with the B36, and today, I think we're gonna get this thing fired up. So we're gonna get the battery put in, we're gonna spin the engine over without the spark plugs in, see if it builds oil pressure. One of the things you don't wanna do is spin this thing over dry with compression. You don't want any pressure on the rods and stuff. We don't wanna score anything up. Hopefully it builds oil pressure. If it builds oil pressure, we'll check, make sure that we got fuel and all that stuff. If it does, we're gonna see if this thing will fire up for the first time in about 12 or 13 years. Could even be 14, I'm not sure. Nobody around here is really sure. Look out for smoke. I'm a little apprehensive as to whether or not this thing has enough juice to fire this thing up.
And just to up the ante a little bit, we're also fighting against that.
Yeah. So why is it every time we're rescuing something or we're trying to get somewhere, like weather is an issue?
Yeah.
Well, it's in.
Feeling good?
It's in. So I'm gonna get in get inside the airplane now. We'll power it up and see if the engine will spin over, see if the starter will work. I mean, the solenoid may not work, the starter solenoid. I mean, there could be a multitude of issues. All right, let's do it. Let me see where everything is here. There's the aux pump. Let's see if we got some battery power. All right, everything turned on. I can hear the gyros spinning up. Got our altitude here. That's set automatically, which is really cool. Clear prop. Let's go ahead and spin this thing over. Nice. Man, that thing is spinning over really good. Really, really good. All right. Yeah, it's spinning over good. I'm going to turn on these, we got our 3 indicators for the gear on. I'm gonna turn the avionics on while I'm in here and just check that out. Taxi nav, strobe, pitot, prop de-ice, avionics master. And everything is fired up. Everything looks like it's working. The 196 is working, the comm here.
No check engine lights either.
No check engine lights, yeah.
Well, it does have an alternator out, but it's not fired
yeah,
up yet.
Don't worry about that.
So, all right. I mean, everything looks good. I don't have my headset here with me right now, so I can't see. So I'm gonna power this off before we lose our battery power, because we're gonna need that, because I'm gonna get out here. I'm gonna put the plugs in, and we're gonna see if it'll fire up. Actually, I want to see if this aux fuel pump comes on. So I'm gonna turn that back on. Yep, so the aux fuel pump is working. Let's see if it gives us fuel flow. Yep, we got fuel flow. So we have fuel flow at least coming up to the fuel distributor block up top of the engine. So we're gonna get the plugs in, we're gonna get the cowling closed, and we'll see if this thing will fire up. So the story we got at that Bonanza is that Tom was pretty much the original owner. It was a demo unit that Bonanza used a little bit before Tom got it, and then Tom had it for years. So this was not only a good find, it was the find. This was a unicorn, a B36TC with an intercooler option added to it, in great condition, almost a new interior, 1,400 original hours, a 500-hour Victor Black engine. This was the airplane. Everything's all set, plugs are in, everything was checked. We did check the fuel filters. We got a little bit of fresh fuel in the tanks. We just added to what was there because that fuel looked pretty good. So now it's just seeing if this thing's gonna fire up. All right. This gets me like so super nervous. So super nervous. You know, to start one of these here for the first time, because yeah, it just makes me nervous. So we're gonna go ahead and see if this thing will fire up. All right, we got all the tires chocked. We have the tie downs tied down, and all right, let's do it. All right, here goes nothing. Clear prop. Get this mixture in full rich. Gonna get some fuel flow. We got fuel flow. Clear prop. It fired right up. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. It is running so smooth right now. There is not a miss, there is nothing. Like, it is perfectly smooth. Turn the alternator on here, get some charging. Everything's good. We got manifold pressure. We got our fuel flow. All right, I'm gonna shut her down here.
Dude, what?
It's running perfectly smooth,
Dude, that was crazy. It was like, what, 2 prop turns?
Two turns. It fired right off. Oh my gosh. All right, so I'm gonna fire it up. I wanna check a couple more things yet. Hopefully it fires back up. Full rich, a little bit of throttle. Turn the fuel pump on, battery's on. Clear prop. Awesome. It like literally, it is just sitting here idling at like a couple hundred RPM. I mean, if you guys look, we got perfect oil pressure. I turn the alternator on, the alternator light goes out. We got charging. Let's turn it up a little bit more idle. Oil temp is coming up. Now it's not showing, it's showing a little bit of a discharge. So we're gonna have to check that alternator. Fuel flow's good. Got some manifold pressure. Then we got a little bit of smoke coming out of here, but that's to be expected. It hasn't ran in so long. I think it's just gonna have to run get those rings to reseat in, and just kind of exercise a bit. I mean, it hasn't been ran in so long. It's going to use a little bit of oil at first too. Yeah, both of the tanks are accurate according to the gauges out on the wings, so feel good about that. Try the landing light here. Try the taxi light here. Nav light, beacon, strobe. So we got all the lights are on. Looks like the beacon, the strobe, the nav, the taxi, all the landing lights, and we'll check it when it's not running, but I believe they're all working. I'll tell you what, this has to be the nicest rescue yet by far. This is going to make the coolest airplane for somebody. Like all the airplanes, I want to keep it. You know, the amount of time and effort and care that's went into this airplane, building it, designing it, and you know, the owner that had it most of its life, he has an awesome story. Fan of aviation, he is just an awesome guy. A little shy to be on camera, but an awesome guy, and he really took care of this. And you know, it was hard for him to let go of it because there's a lot of memories in it, but he really wants to see somebody enjoying it. I took a huge chance buying that Bonanza sight unseen. We were able to get it started. We knew the airframe was in great shape and it had a really good interior. So we were able to sell that airplane and get us one step closer to getting this thing fixed right behind me. This thing is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. This, I don't know how much it was smoking. I mean, maybe a little bit. It's gonna take some time for that to stop, but guys, look, thank you for coming along with us, man. This has been an awesome rescue. This is an awesome place down here in Florida. Take care.
Dude, you want yourself funny?
Dude, it fired right up.
Dude, it fired right up and shot a big old fat mud wobbler's nest right out the back.
No way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Out the exhaust.
Dude, right out the exhaust. I don't think it's still there. It definitely was on video.
I looked up in there to see if there's anything in there.
It must have been way up in there.
Wow, yeah, we'll have to check
Dude,
that.
that was like 2 prop
Dude,
spins.
I'm telling you,
believe
bro.
that.
That was so
That
cool.
was freaking awesome.
That was so cool.
Oh, there's the nest. Look at it over here. That's what shot out of it.